In the early 1930s, the Great Depression wiped out demand for traditional carpentry in Denmark. To keep his workshop alive, a carpenter named Ole Kirk Christensen shifted his focus from building houses to something much smaller, wooden toys. He refused to skimp on quality. His wooden yo-yos, pull toys, and trucks were so rigorously crafted that they steadily built a loyal customer base, securing a reliable income stream for the small business through a highly volatile decade. By the late 1940s, the post-war manufacturing landscape was shifting. Christensen took a massive financial risk, purchasing Denmark's first plastic injection molding machine to pivot the company's production from wood to plastic. That pivot led to a precise engineering breakthrough. By adding internal tubes to the underside of hollow plastic blocks, they created a mechanism called clutch power. The tubes pressed against the outer walls of the connecting bricks, creating a friction fit that ensured every brick produced was compatible with the next. Between the 1950s and the 1980s, this standardized system allowed the company to scale across continents and become a household staple. This single, repeatable physical mechanism became the undeniable engine for decades of global growth. But by the late 1990s, the physical toy market hit a wall. Video games and early 3D computer graphics were aggressively capturing the attention of children, pulling them away from traditional physical play. Inside headquarters, executives panicked. Looking at the rapidly rising sales of gaming consoles, leadership concluded that traditional plastic bricks were obsolete and that building toys were a dying medium. Terrified of being left behind by the digital revolution, the company made a fateful decision. They began actively shifting their focus away from the exact product that had made them a global powerhouse. The company scrambled to rebrand itself as a lifestyle organization. In a matter of years, they poured millions into entirely unrelated markets, manufacturing branded children's clothing, plastic jewelry lines, and bulky action figures that couldn't even connect to their traditional bricks. Then they made their most expensive gamble. They decided to build and operate a massive global network of theme parks, a highly specialized, capital-heavy industry in which their executive team had zero actual operating experience. This animated line chart tracks their operating cash flow heading into the early 2000s, and you can see the direct result of that expansion. By 2003, the company was hemorrhaging $500,000 every single day. Combining massive theme park overhead with skyrocketing manufacturing costs of thousands of non-compatible pieces, the debt spiked. As the deficit marker shows, they were pushed to the absolute brink of bankruptcy. In their rush to compete with every other form of entertainment on the market, they had entirely fractured their own supply chain. In 2004, a former consultant named Jørgen V. Knudstorp took over as CEO. His immediate mandate was entirely focused on stopping the financial bleeding. He sold off the majority stake in the theme parks to an experienced external operator. Then he looked at the factory floor. He ruthlessly slashed the company's bloated inventory, cutting the number of unique plastic molds they produced by more than half. With the operation streamlined, he issued a strict new directive to the product designers. Every new toy concept had to fit strictly within the parameters of the classic, standard, interlocking brick system. Instead of trying to invent entirely new types of toys, Knudstorp authorized strategic licensing deals to bring massive cultural properties into their existing ecosystem. By heavily leaning into brand partnerships, most notably with the Star Wars universe, they tapped into massive global fandoms without altering their core product. Knudstorp pulled the company out of massive debt by demonstrating that strict manufacturing discipline and rigid creative constraints drove far more profitable innovation than chasing every new market trend. Securing their physical supply chain and proving the power of licensed sets gave the company a highly stable foundation. From that secure position, they could finally enter the digital entertainment spaces that had terrified them a decade earlier. The cultural dominance and massive commercial success of the Lego Movie served as the proof of concept for this media strategy. Look at this bar chart showing the company's revenue trajectory. Starting from the 2003 bankruptcy crisis, Knudstorp's back-to-basics leadership triggered a massive, sustained financial turnaround, pushing annual revenues into the billions. As we expand the data to include rival toy companies, you can see them entirely outpacing their traditional competition, officially securing their status as a modern global entertainment conglomerate. They conquered the digital screen by making their classic physical brick the undeniable star of that media, rather than trying to invent a digital replacement for it. Over nearly a century, this business evolved from carving wooden ducks to molding plastic bricks, severely overextended itself, and finally recovered by modernizing its oldest core competency. Their survival offers a very clear business lesson. True corporate resilience comes from fiercely protecting and innovating directly around your foundational product, not fleeing from it when the market shifts. A resilient company figures out how to make the modern world adapt to its core identity, rather than tearing apart its core identity to chase the modern world.